spear video. So the first thing I want to talk about is how important spearing on the Pell is. I've come up with sort of the Barry's rule of thumb of how much pelling you should do. So when I do spear pelling, I generally do groups of about 10 shots. 10 shots will take me maybe 20 seconds, and then I'll rest. I have a timer, and then when another minute ticks along, I'll do another 10 shots. So that's about 10 shots a minute. And goal number one I have is if you just want to get the hang of it, it takes about 100 shots on the Pell. You can get 100 shots in 10 minutes. Okay? The next goal might be that you want to be competent with a spear. So if it's 100 shots to get the hang of it, I would say it's about 1,000 shots to get competent. Okay, 1,000 shots at 10 minutes at a minute for every 10 shots. That is 10 minutes for 100 shots. That's about an hour 40 for 1,000 shots. I recommend when you're starting off no more than 100 shots of a session because arm will start getting sore, your hips might start getting sore. So if you're doing 10-minute sessions, you could get in 1,000 shots in a couple of weeks. It won't take much time at all. That gets you competent with a spear. If you want to be good with a spear, okay, truly somebody that's effective on the battlefield, my recommendation is to get in about 10,000 shots. Okay, so if let's say if it's roughly an hour and a half for 100 or 1,000 shots, that means for 10,000 shots we're talking about roughly 15 hours. So if you put in an hour a week, you could be a good spearman in about 3 to 4 months. And then the next goal I have is 100,000 shots to become what I would consider a true veteran, expert spearman on the field. Okay, again, if we're looking at about an hour a week, maybe build up to 2 half-hour sessions a week. You do this consistently, 50 weeks a year. About 3.5 years, you could be that spearman. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about what you need for a Pell. Okay, this is a $390 punching dummy. This is pretty good. This is actually even pretty good for using sword work. You can fill up the base. You can take a little bit of water out of the base. If you want something that's rigid but gives, do not hit brick walls. Do not hit big giant oak trees. You cannot effectively practice on those. You can practice targeting, but you'll never be able to practice the stance to get your power in a shot. So you want something rigid but with a little bit of give. This has a little bit of give. This is my old sword and shield Pell. I can use this. This has some give to it. This has a little bit too much give, so I put a little bit of weights on the bottom to make this a little stiffer. This has a little bit less variety in targeting. You can still get ready for Pentic on something like this, but you pretty much have to hit just everything that's right in this line. You can put some tape marks, so that, you know, some for the face, some for the body. This is the cheapest Pell and just as effective. It's a cardboard box. You can stuff it full of cardboard, make the thing nice and rigid. This is not rigid enough, but you can fill something like this up. This is even a decent size. You can prop it up onto something, anchor it to your wall somehow. One thing about this is that the top will eventually explode, so you want to tape that really good with some strapping tape. Put a plastic Rubbermaid lid on it so that you don't poke holes. I learned that the hard way. Okay, here's a Pell I used in the basement. This is an old elliptical machine box I taped some lids to. Okay. Nice and good. And here we got a nice tree. Don't go for the trunk, go for something, again, that's got a little bit of give on it. One last piece of motivation here. You need to do your Pell work. If you actually want to be any good with a spear, you need to do your work. One thing to think about with Pell work is that you might think that just going to practice is enough. I'd be willing to bet you throw 100 shots an hour at practice. Maybe 100, 200 shots in an entire event. I can get that done in 20 minutes, and I can do that every day at home. Okay, fundamentals of using the Pell. I want to show you what I have here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I have 3 tape marks on the floor. I have one tape mark that is 10 feet away from my Pell. I have one tape mark that is 11 feet away from the Pell, and I have one tape mark that is 12 feet away from the Pell. Okay, so the first tape mark is about as close as you can realistically get to throw a shot. Okay, this would be if maybe there's no spearmen on the other side and all you're shooting against are shields and pole arms. Or maybe maybe you have more spears on your side than they do on their side, and you want to kind of get close. Or maybe you've got a really good defense. This is about as close as you could get. 11 feet is a more realistic distance. At 11 feet, you can get out of range, come back into range. You can step forward and shoot. And then the 12-foot mark is when you've got a really good rangy spearman on that side, and you want to really stay out and stay safe, but you need to lunge in to hit the person and then come right back. The reason for the tape marks is not so much for getting the range. It is to remind you that after you throw a shot, you need to come back behind the tape. Think about, they say this in martial arts and in boxing, you fire in, you return at 200% of the effort that you fire in. So I'm going to take a shot, come back, stop, look down, make sure I'm back behind the line before I take the next shot. I see so many people when they spear that are new at this, they start hitting it as close as they can and start hitting spots, and the whole time their foot is well in front of the line. You're not practicing anything that you're going to repeat in a battle, so I highly recommend against it. Make sure you get back behind the line. Okay, so we want to talk about thrust technique. Okay, I'm going to stand at the middle line. So grab the spear at the back. Do not cup it like this. That's an illegal hold, and you could break your hand if you do that. Cup it as far back on the spear as you can. Get into a relaxed position. Your toe is behind the line. Okay, I'm going to step forward and take a shot at the Pell. I'm going to try to hit the center of the Pell. As long as I hit a target that's about that big, that's accurate enough. Better spearmen, you try to get better and better goals, but for newer people, just get somewhere within there. Make sure you hit the target. We're going to lunge forward with the foot. Step back out. Okay? When we do that, I'm going to do this in a real speed in a moment. Make sure you're firing from a position where you're not giving tells. You don't want to wind up for each shot. Okay? So you don't want to stand here, wind up and throw, and then come back, because they're going to see that. Wind up and throw. It's not good. So you want to be in a position that you can stand for a long period of time. This might get tiring. Okay, arm back, no telegraphing, and then you want to explode out and then return back. I think of it as an explosion. You float through the air a bit, and at the very end of the shot, you want to ground everything and put all of your weight into the shot. Definitely, if you're new to this, only throw as hard as your joints can take it. Okay, with this thing, I can throw pretty hard. I can start to feel some pain in my wrist. That's going to take a while to build up to, so don't throw any harder than your bones, your joints, and your ligaments can take. But you do want to give a nice explosive shot and make sure you finish. Some people have the habit of just kind of tagging the target with no power behind it. And there's not a lot of power behind that. You really need to put some power into it.